Hi, I'm Ron, and welcome to another exciting episode of Bits and Bits, the go-to how-to channel, just for you. Today, we're going to show you how to take a walking stick and extend it to over 7 feet. So, join me. Okay, here are some of the parts and tools that you will need in order to complete this little project. The first is a nice drill. You're going to need some large bits, so you'll probably end up having to have a drill with a 1/2-inch chuck on it. If your shank on your drill bit is smaller, like 3/8, then you can get by with a 3/8 chuck on a drill. Otherwise, you're going to have a 1/2-inch chuck. You're going to need a hacksaw or preferably a cutoff saw. The blade on a cutoff saw is a little thicker than a hacksaw blade, so with a cutoff saw you're only going to have to make one cut. With a hacksaw you're probably going to have to make 2 cuts, and it's going to be a little bit more difficult. Some of the other things you're going to need is some masking tape or some painter's tape. The lettering will show up better and easier to read with masking tape. You're going to need 2 drill bits. You're going to need a 15/32, and you're going to need a 29/64. This one is just a 1/64 of an inch smaller in diameter than the other bit, but it's what we need to complete this project. You're going to need some acrylic paint. Now, this is actually optional. It's just going to protect your metal. Because you will be making marks on the metal, so you know how to put things back together later. You're going to need our favorite number 2 screwdriver. Everybody should have one of these. And you're going to need a black marker, red marker, any kind of a marking pen, preferably not a highlighter. That's a little bit more difficult to see. So you need a marking pen, and you need an engraver. You can get by with a scribe, but it won't be as neat. I think I picked this up at Harbor Freight for maybe $5, $6. Runs on 2 batteries, and works great. I was really surprised. And then you're going to need some toothpicks. 1 or 2 toothpicks is all you need, but you might have a whole box lying around. And of course, you're going to need walking sticks, 2 walking sticks, because we're going to take the parts from one, and we're going to combine them and make a longer walking stick out of the other pole. So let's get going, and we'll see how this project is going to be completed. So first, you've got 2 walking sticks. You're going to label them X and Y. Go ahead and put a piece of tape up here on the handle, and then label each section. On your X pole, you're going to label, you got 3 sections. The first section you're going to label is D, the next one E, and the last section F. The other pole, which is your Y pole, you're going to label the sections A, B, and C. That way, in the end, when we put these things back together, you'll know which piece goes into which other piece of pole and which handle they're both attached to. The first thing you do is on pole Y, you want to separate sections A and B. So we have A and B, so release your clamp. And I might say I've seen other walking sticks or walking poles with screw-type clamps. I don't think they will work. Because we actually need to remove one of these clamps and put it on another section. So try to get poles with these kind of hinged clamps. When I was in Walmart, they actually had 2 different types of packages. One had 1 pole in it for $17, $18, and it allowed you to clamp on your cell phone to the handle. Well, I don't know who'd want to have a cell phone all the time on the handle looking at them. I mean, you're out there for a walk. The other package, and these are both by Outdoor Products now, and I also have a link down in the description, along with the manufacturer's number and the Walmart number. And there's a link to the Walmart website that take you right to the Outdoor Products page for these two walking sticks. The other package had 2 poles in it, and they had regular handles. 2 poles for the same price as the other package, and it only had 1, but you could put your cell phone on. So it's up to you what you want to get. They both had locking clamps, but if you get the other package needing the cell phone, you're going to have to buy 2 poles. And I'm not going to say they're going to work because I didn't buy 2 of those, but I bought 1 package with 2 poles in it. So you separate sections A and B. Now take your 15, 30 seconds bit, and you're going to drill out a piece of rubber that's in the end of section B. So take your drill bit and go in there. The bit will catch the rubber and it should just pull it out. If it doesn't, you'll have to pull it out yourself. Now, there was little dimples right around here that held the rubber in. You need to remove the dimples on the inside because we're going to insert another tube section inside here. And unless you drill down the dimples a little, the other section will not fit in there. So take your other bit, your 29/64, and drill those dimples out. Now, on the same end here, you're going to either use your cutoff saw or your hacksaw, and you're going to make a slit from the end up through this emblem that says stop on it. It doesn't have to be straight. You can see my cut wasn't exactly straight, but you do need the 1/8 inch gap in there. Mine is just a little shy of 1/8 inch. The gaps on the original poles were a good 1/8 inch. They weren't short. They were a full 1/8 inch. Anyway, after you drill the dimples out and cut your slit in, you're going to, on the same pole, on section C, you're going to remove the rubber boot here at the end, and you're going to undo this flange. I call it the flange. They call it the shock absorber. I don't know what it's absorbing the shock of, but or actually the principle behind that shock absorber. I think it's just I don't know, something to grab in the snow, I guess, if you're walking in the snow. Okay, now on pole X, you're going to separate sections D and E. This is pole X, section D and E. So undo the clamp, and if you notice that the slit here, see that slit right there in the clamp? It's right over the slit in the tube. And you want to make sure that they are aligned like that. Otherwise, when you close your clamp, it's not going to squeeze the pole properly. You need to remove this clamp from section D, which you just removed from the other section. You're going to remove that clamp, and you'll notice that the one end is a little bit larger than the other end. Put the larger end on section B. So find section B, which is right here, and the larger end goes on first. The hinged end here goes towards the end of the tube. So make sure that you've got the slit in the tube up, and you've got the slit here also up. Now take your screwdriver, and you're going to have to screw this down just a little. You don't want it falling off. If you screw these screws in too tight, you won't be able to clamp this over, okay? So no tighter than necessary. Yeah, that worked. A little tight, but it'll work. Okay. Okay, now, you want to make sure that that doesn't fall off. Now, separate sections E and F. So let's see here, that's C and B. We have E and F. So we want to open up the clamp, and we want to separate those sections. Now, insert section F, which has got the foot on it now. Insert section F into B. So let's find B. There's B. So we're just going to turn this around, and we're going to put it in there. And there are markings. You see the markings right here? They're centimeter markings. And up near the stop emblem, you'll see 135 centimeters. Put that at the end of the pole. That's where we're going to adjust all the sections to. And then clamp this. Make sure the hinge slit is above the slit in the pole. And just clamp that. Don't pinch your fingers like I just did. Okay. We want to insert section C, which is this one, right here, the tapered end where we removed the rubber foot and the flange. So insert section C, the tapered end, into clamp E, or section E on the clamp. Here's E, here's the clamp. Now on this, you want to make sure that when you close the clamp here, it does not clamp over the threads. If it does, you're going to have to pull the pole out just a little. So that is going to work just fine. There. And you can pull this and it's not going to come apart. Okay. We want to insert section E. Where is E? Good thing we got labels on here, huh? All right, here's E. We want to insert section E into A. So I'm going to turn this around. Section A is pole Y handle. And we're going to insert that in here up to the 135 centimeter mark. And we're going to clamp that. Now, make sure that each section is adjusted to that 135 millimeter mark. Let's see what we got here. That one, that was 110, 120. All right, let's extend that out a little. There's 135, and then we're going to reclamp that. Okay. All right, so now we got a long pole. Fully extended, this pole is over 7 feet long. Almost all the poles that I have seen, walking sticks, walking poles, only extend to about a 57, maybe 59 inches at the very most. Now, if you've ever been out walking and you've been surprised by a snake, you might say he was almost close enough to bite you. A rattlesnake can actually strike out approximately 1/3 of their length. So if it's a 6-footer, they can strike out about 2 feet. If he's going to bite you, it means you're almost going to step on him. And having a pole out there in front of you, trying to hit the ground, that's only 4.5 feet long, I mean, you're going to take one more step before you can stop once you notice that there's a snake there. And usually, they're going to be just as surprised as you are, and they're going to strike just out of reflex. So with 7 feet out in front of you, even if you take another step, you're still a long way from being able to be bit by that rattlesnake. You just tap that ground out in front of you to disturb anything, because they do like to sleep. Anyway, once you do this, take your engraver, and on each section, like section A, I have put, let me separate this so it's easier to handle. Okay. On section A, I don't know if you're going to be able to see this or not. No, you're not. Anyway, where's the engraver? What I did, right here, I put 1 dot with the engraver, right next to the clamp. 1 dot. That's section 1. Okay? You can also put an A right there, or you can put the A on later. I prefer to put the dots on first, take it apart, put everything back together to make 2 poles, and then put the letters A, B, C, D, E, F on the appropriate sections. That way you make sure that you get the right section with the right letter. So what this means is you got 1 dot here. You need to find another pole. Now this is to make the long pole. You need to find another pole with 1 dot. Well, this is section E right here, and I've got 1 dot right next to the emblem. So 1 dot, they go together. If you look at this section here, I've got 2 dots right here at the, it's 110 centimeter mark. I got 2 dots there, which matches up to the next section that has 2 dots. So they actually go together, 2 dots and 2 dots. The next section is going to have 3 dots. We're going to have 3 dots here, and we got 3 dots here. Just match up the number of dots of each section, and you know how everything goes back together. On these last 2 sections, I've got 4 dots here, and I've got 4 dots here. The way I marked these was when you put this together, you actually cover up the dots. That makes everything nice and clean, you know. We all like to be neat, right? Anyway, once you get that done, taken care of, and use the engraver to make the dots. Now take your toothpick and your acrylic paint, make sure it's stirred up real good, and just put a drop of paint in each of these dot recesses you made with the engraver. Then take a paper towel and quickly wipe it off. You don't want to press real hard. You just want to kind of go lightly over the surface. If you got a little bit too much paint in there, it's going to bubble over the surface just a little, and that's what you want to get off. Now, what you do is, after you do that, you'll let everything dry. Let it dry for an hour, but you're not going to be in a big hurry anyway. It's not like you're going to rush out and go for a walk, right? Anyway, you need to take these things apart, and you need to reassemble in the original configuration using the letters on the masking tape, A, B, C, D, E, F. Once you do that, then you can actually take your engraver again, because you're going to remove the masking tape now, because the masking tape is thick enough where it won't go in the other tube. And if you try and force it in there, you might actually roll it off and it might get stuck in there. So the idea is to get rid of these pieces of masking tape and actually have the letters engraved on the tube itself, the sections. You don't need to go A, A, B, B, C, C. It's just A, B, C. They're only going to go together one way. But this way, you'll know when you want to go back to 2 separate walking sticks, which section goes into which section. After you've got that done, and you can actually take a toothpick and fill in letter recesses that you made with the engraver with the paint. Wipe it off real quick and let that dry. On this particular one, I didn't do that. I just left the letters bare. When you get them all together, don't forget that you've got a flange to stick on and you've got a rubber foot to stick on. Anyway, real quick is the reason I came up with this was because over the years, it's been a couple of years since I've been about 20, but I took some friends up in the mountains to go rattlesnake hunting. And this particular canyon I was aware of, I grew up next to that canyon, so I knew there was a lot of rattlesnakes in there. We went rattlesnake hunting, and I was actually in the lead. I think there was 4 or 5 of us. And I was looking for them suckers. And the scary part is I came upon 3 of them. I didn't see none of them. The guys behind me just stopped, let me walk by the snake, and I was not light on my feet. I was trying to be noisy to wake up any snake, but I guess I wasn't noisy enough. Anyway, all 3 of them, I walked by, they didn't wake up, and that was really unnerving. If I would have had something like this, I could have been tapping the ground out there, and I would have woke them suckers up. No problem. But having a short stick in front of you, that wasn't going to do any good. Had shotguns, so just blew their heads off, and that took care of that. Anyway, that has been in my mind ever since I was 20. So that's been several years. Anyway, I hope you enjoy this, and hopefully it will make hiking or walking, even down the street in a rural area. You know, snakes go all over the place, and they love to come out in the evening and early morning, and at dusk and dawn, twilight and dawn. That's where they're a little bit more harder to see because their markings actually give them natural camouflage. That was one of the reasons why I didn't see them walking in that canyon, even though I was looking for them. I just couldn't see them suckers. Anyway, I hope this will make your outdoor travels a little bit safer. And if you would, give me a like down below if you like this video. If not, well, give me a thumbs down. You know, it's your choice there. Hit the subscribe button if you would. And after you do that, you can hit the bell icon next to it. That will notify you when another video goes out from Bits and Bits, so you don't miss any of our episodes. So I thank you for watching, and we just have some final words for you.